The massive alien ship hung in Earth's orbit like a giant metal wasp. Its sharp angles and pointed sections made it clear that whoever built it wasn't interested in looking friendly. Inside the ship, Admiral Stone paced back and forth on his 6 legs, his hard exoskeleton gleaming under the bright lights of the command bridge. Status report on the humans' response to our arrival. He clicked his mandibles together, a habit he had when feeling impatient. They've agreed to meet, Admiral, his second-in-command, Officer Reed, reported. Their global council will receive us in their main meeting chamber in what they call Geneva. Admiral Stone's antenna twitched as he reviewed the intelligence reports one more time. These humans were a puzzle. They had only recently achieved spaceflight, yet they had survived and thrived on one of the most challenging planets his species had ever encountered. More concerning were the reports about their secret weapons, the beasts they kept. Any new information about their battle creatures? He asked. Officer Reed pulled up a holographic display. Our scans show these beasts are everywhere, Admiral. In their homes, their workplaces, even their healing centers. They must be extremely well-trained weapons. The Admiral's compound eyes reflected the light as he studied the readings. His species, the Vex, had conquered many worlds, but they had never encountered a civilization that lived alongside their weapons like this. It was disturbing. Prepare the diplomatic team, he ordered, and double the security detail. Hours later, Admiral Stone stood before the United Earth Council. The human meeting room was large and well-lit, with windows showing the snow-capped mountains outside. The Admiral's security team positioned themselves strategically around the room, their weapons hidden but ready. The human delegates didn't seem scared of their alien visitors. This worried Stone more than if they had shown fear. In his experience, only the most dangerous opponents acted this calm. "We welcome you to Earth," the council leader said, standing at the podium. "We look forward to peaceful relations with the Galactic Federation." Admiral Stone stepped forward, his helmet's translator converting his clicks and chirps into human speech. "We accept your welcome. However, before we proceed with any treaties, we must address a serious concern." The humans looked at each other, confused. "Our intelligence shows you keep dangerous battle beasts in your homes," Stone continued. "This is unacceptable. All such weapons must be surrendered to the Federation for evaluation." He expected protests, anger, maybe even threats. Instead, something far more worrying happened. The humans smiled. Some even covered their mouths, holding back what appeared to be laughter. The council leader cleared his throat, trying to maintain a serious expression. "Admiral, I believe there may be a misunderstanding. Could you clarify what you mean by battle beasts?" Stone projected a hologram showing various Earth creatures living in human settlements. "These biological weapons you keep in your dwellings. Our scans show they're everywhere. Some are even allowed near your young." A quiet chuckle rippled through the human delegation. The council leader's eyes twinkled with amusement, but his voice remained diplomatic. "Admiral, I think we should arrange a demonstration. Would you like to meet one of these battle beasts in person?" Stone's antenna stood straight up in alarm. "You would bring one here, into this diplomatic setting?" "Oh yes," the council leader smiled. "In fact, I insist. It will help clear up this misunderstanding quickly. With your permission, of course." The Admiral looked at his security team, who gripped their weapons tighter. After a moment of consideration, he nodded. "Very well. Show us your most common battle beast. But be warned, any aggressive action will be met with immediate response." The council leader pressed a button on his desk. "Please bring in Max." The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. Admiral Stone's security team moved closer to him, their posture rigid with anticipation. The humans, oddly, seemed completely relaxed. The door opened slowly, and Admiral Stone prepared himself to face whatever terrifying creature the humans considered common enough to keep in their homes. The door opened fully, and in bounded a golden-furred creature with floppy ears and a long wagging tail. Max, the golden retriever, trotted into the room with a big doggy smile on his face, his tail sweeping back and forth like a furry metronome. Admiral Stone and his security team immediately backed away, their weapons half raised. The Admiral's antenna whipped back and forth in confusion. This was not what he had expected. Max sat down, tilted his head, and let out a friendly woof. The security team flinched at the sound. Officer Reed's voice crackled over the Admiral's private communicator. "Sir, should we neutralize the threat?" Before Stone could respond, Max flopped onto his back, showing his belly, tongue lolling out in a happy pant. His tail thumped against the floor in a steady rhythm. The council leader smiled. "This, Admiral Stone, is what you've been detecting in our homes. This is Max, and he's what we call a dog. More specifically, he's a golden retriever, one of our most popular breeds of companion animals." Companion animals. Stone's translator struggled with the concept. But our scans showed these creatures have teeth, claws, and significant physical capabilities. As if to demonstrate these dangerous capabilities, Max rolled over and began chasing his own tail, spinning in circles until he got dizzy and stumbled sideways with a goofy expression. Several human delegates couldn't contain their laughter anymore. The council leader gestured to a young woman who had been standing quietly nearby. "This is Max's trainer, Miss Brown. Perhaps she can demonstrate some of his battle capabilities." Miss Brown stepped forward, reaching into her pocket. The alien security team tensed, but she pulled out something that made Max's ears perk up immediately. A tennis ball. "Max, want to play fetch?" she asked, holding up the ball. The dog's entire body wiggled with excitement. His tail wagged so hard his back end swayed from side to side. "This is one of their most basic training exercises," Miss Brown explained, then threw the ball across the room. Max bounded after it, his nails clicking on the floor. He grabbed the ball, pranced back to Miss Brown, and dropped it at her feet, looking up expectantly. Admiral Stone watched in bewilderment as this pattern repeated several times. His compound eyes tracked the ball's movement, trying to understand the tactical purpose of this exercise. But he finally managed. Our intelligence showed these creatures protecting humans, guarding their territories, even participating in their military operations. "Oh, dogs can definitely be protective," the council leader agreed. "They're loyal and can be trained for various jobs, including military and police work. But primarily, they're our companions, our friends." As if to prove this point, Max trotted over to Admiral Stone's security team and sat down, offering his paw to the nearest guard. The guard looked at the extended paw like it might be a detonator. "He wants you to shake," Miss Brown explained. "It's how dogs greet friends." Admiral Stone watched in horror as one of his most hardened security officers hesitantly reached out and shook the dog's paw. Max responded by giving the guard's hand a gentle lick. "The creature is using some kind of chemical weapon," the guard exclaimed, pulling his hand back. No, Miss Brown laughed. "That's just a kiss. It means he likes you." Admiral Stone's antenna drooped as he processed this information. "Are you telling me," he said slowly, "that these animals, these dogs, are not weapons at all? That you keep them in your homes because you like them?" "Exactly." The council leader beamed. "In fact, most Earth homes have at least one pet. Dogs, cats, birds, fish. We share our lives with many different animals." "But why?" Stone asked, watching as Max now rolled over for a belly rub from the formerly terrified security guard. "Because they bring us joy," Miss Brown said simply. "They're our companions, our friends, and for many of us, their family." The concept of keeping other species as family members made Admiral Stone's head spin. He watched as Max went from guard to guard, distributing tail wags and friendly licks, slowly transforming his hardened security team into awkward but willing participants in what humans called playtime. The most disturbing part wasn't the dog's behavior. It was how much his own crew seemed to be enjoying it. Admiral Stone sat stiffly on what humans called a couch in the home of the Brown family. His official mission report called this tactical research into human-beast bonding methods. Unofficially, he was spending a week living with a human family to understand their relationship with dogs. Miss Brown from the diplomatic meeting had volunteered her family's home. Now Stone watched as Max, the same golden retriever from the Geneva meeting, performed his morning routine. First, he needs his breakfast, Tommy, Miss Brown's 10-year-old brother, explained to the Admiral. Stone observed as the boy poured brown pellets into a bowl. "This is your battle beast's fuel," Stone asked, making notes on his datapad. Tommy giggled. "It's just dog food. Max loves it, don't you, boy?" Max's enthusiastic crunching filled the kitchen. Stone noted how the fearsome beast was easily controlled by a human child who barely reached the Admiral's waist height. "And now," Tommy announced, "it's time for morning walkies." Stone had learned that walkies was a critical tactical exercise that happened twice daily. He followed Tommy and Max outside, his 6 legs moving carefully on the suburban sidewalk. "Why does he stop to smell everything?" Stone asked, watching Max investigate every bush, fire hydrant, and lamppost. "He's checking his P-mail." Tommy laughed at his own joke. "Dogs learn about other dogs in the neighborhood this way." "Ah," Stone clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. "A surveillance network." "No, silly. He just likes to know which dogs have been here. Look out. He's found a stick." Max proudly carried his newfound treasure, a rather ordinary piece of wood, as if it were the most valuable thing in the galaxy. He dropped it at Stone's feet and waited expectantly. "The beast offers me a weapon," Stone observed, reaching for his hidden blaster. "He wants you to throw it," Tommy explained quickly. "It's a game. Watch." Tommy picked up the stick and threw it. Max raced after it, brought it back, and dropped it again at Stone's feet. His tail wagged hopefully. After several minutes of hesitation and Tommy's encouragement, Admiral Stone picked up the stick with his primary hands. He threw it, using his military training to calculate the optimal trajectory. Max bounded after it joyfully, and for the first time in his distinguished military career, Admiral Stone felt a strange urge to say good boy. The afternoon brought more surprises. Stone watched in fascination as Max interacted with Mrs. Brown while she worked from home. The dog lay quietly at her feet during video calls, somehow knowing when she needed to focus. When she seemed stressed, Max would place his head on her lap, and her tension would visibly decrease. "Remarkable," Stone muttered. "The beast can sense emotional distress and knows how to neutralize it. He just knows when I need a cuddle." Mrs. Brown smiled, scratching behind Max's ears. "Dogs are very empathetic. They can tell when their humans are sad or upset." That evening, Stone experienced what the Browns called TV time. The family gathered on the couch to watch a movie. Max jumped up between them, rolled onto his back, and began snoring loudly. "The beast sleeps while on guard duty?" Stone asked, shocked. "He's not on duty," Mr. Brown chuckled. "He's just having a nap with his family." Stone's antenna twitched at the word family. In his reports to the Federation, he had started using the term companion species instead of battle beasts, but family was a concept he still struggled to understand. Later that night, as Stone reviewed his notes in the guest room, he heard a scratch at the door. Opening it, he found Max standing there, tail wagging. "Do you require something, beast?" Stone asked formally. Max simply walked in, turned around 3 times, and flopped down next to Stone's sleeping pad. Within minutes, the dog was snoring again. Stone sent his final report of the day to the Federation. "These creatures appear to have mastered a form of warfare we never considered, the complete invasion of one's heart without firing a single shot." Then, very carefully, he reached down and patted Max's head. The dog's tail thumped happily in his sleep, and Admiral Stone felt something unusual, a desire to smile. Admiral Stone's study of Earth's companion animals was interrupted by blaring alarms. He was visiting a local school with the Browns, where Miss Brown worked as a teacher. Max had been showing the children how to sit and stay when the emergency lights began flashing. Space pirates. Officer Reed's voice crackled through Stone's communicator. They've breached the atmosphere. 3 ships heading toward the school's coordinates. Stone's antenna stiffened. The pirates must have tracked his movements, knowing a high-ranking Federation officer would make a valuable hostage. Worse, he was in a building full of human children. Initiate emergency protocols. Miss Brown shouted, surprisingly calm. The children, about 20 of them, lined up quickly. They had practiced this drill, but this was no drill. Max's demeanor changed instantly. His usual happy expression disappeared, replaced by alert watchfulness. His ears perked up, listening to something the others couldn't hear yet. We must reach the shelter. Stone clicked rapidly. My security team is too far to arrive in time. The first explosion rocked the building. Down the hall, they heard the crash of breaking glass. Miss Brown guided the children toward the emergency stairwell, but voices from below stopped them. More pirates, Stone whispered, his compound eyes detecting movement. They're coming up from the ground floor. Max stepped in front of the group, his fur slightly raised. The friendly, goofy dog was gone. In his place stood a creature fully aware of his ancient wolf ancestry. What's the beast doing? Stone asked, reaching for his blaster. Protecting his pack, Miss Brown said quietly. Admiral, can you get the children to the roof? There's a shelter up there. Max and I will hold them off. That's absurd. The beast is no match for. A growl from Max silenced him. It wasn't aggressive or frightening. It was a warning. The pirates were getting closer. Trust us, Miss Brown insisted. Max knows what to do. Before Stone could argue, the door below burst open. Max barked, not his usual playful bark, but a deep, powerful sound that echoed through the stairwell. The pirates hesitated. They had expected resistance, but not this unfamiliar noise. What kind of weapon is that? One pirate called out. Max barked again, the sound bouncing off the walls to make it seem like there were many dogs, not just one. Stone used the distraction to hurry the children up the stairs. He looked back to see Miss Brown pointing down different corridors, giving Max quiet commands. The dog ran back and forth, barking from different positions, creating confusion among the pirates. His strategy was working. The intruders split up, unsure of what they were facing. When one pirate got too close to the stairs, Max stopped playing games. He launched himself forward, a golden blur of focused protection. He didn't bite or attack. He didn't need to. His size, speed, and deep barks were enough to make the pirate stumble backward and fall. Retreat, the pirate yelled. They've got some kind of earth beast. Stone watched in amazement as Max herded the pirates away from the stairs, working with Miss Brown to keep them away from the children. The dog moved with purpose, never attacking, but always positioning himself between the danger and his humans. By the time Stone's security team arrived, the pirates were already running back to their ships. They'd expected an easy target. Instead, they got an angry golden retriever and his very clever human partner. Later, as Federation medics checked everyone for injuries, Stone found Max back to his normal self, accepting belly rubs from relieved children. I don't understand, Stone said to Miss Brown. He was ready to face armed pirates, but he never bit anyone. He protected without attacking. That's what dogs do, she smiled. They love deeply and protect fiercely, but they're gentle at heart. Max knew exactly how much force was needed, just enough to scare them away. Stone watched as Max went from child to child, checking on each one, offering comfort with a gentle nuzzle or a paw on their lap. The same dog that had driven away armed pirates was now helping a small girl stop crying by licking her tears away. In all my years of military service, Stone clicked softly, I've never seen such a perfect balance of strength and gentleness. That's why we love them, Miss Brown said. Dogs aren't weapons, Admiral. They're heroes who'd rather play fetch than fight. Max, hearing the word fetch, immediately brought a ball to Stone. Even after facing down pirates, he was still ready to play. Stone found himself throwing the ball, his military formality forgotten. Perhaps, he thought, there were some kinds of strength the Federation had never considered before. The Federation Council chamber buzzed with confusion as Admiral Stone presented his report. The massive circular room was filled with representatives from 100 different species, all watching the holoscreen displaying images of dogs. And you say these creatures choose to protect humans without any technological control? Asked Counselor Beam, whose crystalline body sparkled as she spoke. Correct. Stone clicked his mandibles confidently. Through something humans call love and friendship. His translator struggled with these words, producing strange echoes in the chamber. The holoscreen showed Max playing with children, then switched to footage of the school incident. Several council members shifted uncomfortably as they watched the golden retriever drive away armed pirates without causing any injuries. Impossible, shouted Representative Orb, a floating sphere of green gas. No species willingly serves another without neural implants or genetic modification. Stone played his next recording, Max sleeping on his sleeping pad, then waking up to comfort Tommy after a nightmare. The chamber fell silent as they watched the dog gently nuzzle the boy until he smiled and fell back asleep. The humans have achieved something remarkable, Stone continued. They have gained loyal allies through kindness instead of control. And it's not just dogs. They have other companion species too. Cats, birds, even tiny swimming creatures they call fish. The chamber erupted in chaos. Half the council members began shouting requests to acquire their own Earth companions. The other half demanded investigations into possible hidden human technology. Order. The head counselor's voice boomed through the chamber. Admiral Stone, are you suggesting we revise our initial assessment of human civilization? Yes, Stone said firmly. Their technology may be primitive by our standards, but their ability to form bonds with other species is unprecedented. During my time on Earth, I observed something we've never achieved in the Federation: genuine interspecies families. The holoscreen displayed scenes from Stone's stay with the Browns, Max helping Mrs. Brown with her stress, playing fetch with Tommy, watching TV with the family, and guarding Miss Brown's classroom. The humans don't see these animals as servants or tools, Stone explained. They see them as family members. They even have special doctors just for animals, and stores filled with toys and treats for them. And what about the pirate incident? Asked Counselor Beam. How do you explain the beast's tactical performance? That's the most remarkable part, Stone clicked excitedly. Dogs can switch from playful companions to protective guardians instantly, using only the force necessary. They understand nuance in a way our best combat AIs never have. The council chambers filled with murmurs as representatives discussed this information with their delegates. Finally, the head counselor spoke again. What are your recommendations, Admiral? Stone straightened his posture. First, I recommend we establish an interspecies adoption program. Many Federation worlds could benefit from Earth's companion animals. Second, we should study the human method of building trust with other species. And third, he paused, his antenna twitching slightly, I request permission to acquire a dog of my own. This last request caused another stir in the chamber. No Federation admiral had ever asked to share their living space with another species. The humans call it pet adoption. Stone continued. I've already completed their screening process. There's a young dog at their shelter who, his translator crackled as he searched for the right words, who chose me. The holoscreen showed one final image. Stone sitting on the floor of an animal shelter, while a small mixed-breed dog with floppy ears and a crooked tail wagged happily in his lap. Very well, the head counselor declared. We will establish diplomatic relations with Earth, including their companion animal program. And Admiral, A note of amusement entered the counselor's voice. Do keep us updated on your personal research into this matter. As the council session ended, Stone's communicator buzzed with hundreds of messages from Federation officials requesting information about dog adoption. He looked at the image of the shelter dog again, his future companion, whom he had already named Star. Perhaps, he thought, the humans had taught the Federation its most important lesson yet. True strength lies not in controlling other species, but in earning their love and trust. 6 months after the Federation approved the Earth Companion Program, Admiral Stone stood in his ship's newly installed dog park module. His companion, Star, romped around with Max and several other dogs while their owners, both human and alien, watched with joy. Star was smaller than Max, with brown patches on white fur and one ear that never quite stood up straight. She had been in the shelter for months because people thought she looked funny. But to Stone, she was perfect. "I never thought I'd see this," Miss Brown said, watching a crystalline being from Beamworld throw a ball for an excited Labrador. Dogs playing fetch in space. Stone's antenna wiggled happily as Star brought him her favorite toy, a stuffed animal shaped like an earth squirrel. "The Federation has changed more in 6 months than in the last 100 years, he clicked. The changes were everywhere. Federation ships now had designated pet areas, complete with artificial grass and fire hydrants. The diplomatic corps had a whole division of therapy dogs who helped ease tensions during difficult negotiations. Admiral. Officer Reed hurried into the park module, then stopped to pat Star as she ran to greet him. "The latest reports from across Federation space are in." Stone took the data pad, his compound eyes scanning the information quickly. The statistics were impressive. Stress levels on Federation ships with dogs had dropped by 60%. Diplomatic meetings that included therapy dogs had a 75% higher success rate. Crime rates in Federation ports had decreased wherever K9 units were introduced. Several alien species reported improved mental health after adopting Earth pets. "And there's more," Reed continued, scratching Star behind her floppy ear. "The Medical Council wants to expand the therapy dog program to all major Federation hospitals." Stone remembered how Star had helped him after tough missions, sitting quietly by his side or bringing her toys when his antenna drooped with stress. Now other species were discovering the same comfort. The ship's intercom crackled. "Admiral to the bridge. Incoming transmission from the warrior hives." The warrior hives were one of the most aggressive species in known space. Stone hurried to the bridge, Star trotting faithfully by his side. On the main screen, a fearsome hive queen appeared, with a tiny chihuahua sitting on her armored shoulder. "Admiral Stone," the queen's translator rumbled. "My new battle advisor wishes to arrange a playdate with the dogs of your fleet." Stone managed to keep his professional composure, but his antenna twitched with amusement. The tiny dog on the queen's shoulder barked, its high-pitched sound making several bridge officers jump. "Of course, Your Majesty," Stone replied. "Our dog park module is always open to diplomatic visitors." After the transmission ended, Stone's first officer turned to him. "Sir, did we just avoid a potential war because their queen adopted a chihuahua?" "It appears so," Stone clicked thoughtfully. "Though I'm not sure who adopted whom. These Earth creatures have their own way of conquering hearts." Later that day, Stone sat in his quarters updating the Federation's official guide. Understanding Earth's companion species, Star lay at his feet, occasionally pushing her nose against his leg for pets. The manual now included sections like, "Why your dog brings you toys when you're sad," "Understanding tail wags," "A guide for non-humans," basic commands in multiple Federation languages, species-specific petting guides. "No, your tentacles won't hurt them." Stone added a new note. "Remember, dogs don't care what species you are. They love with their whole hearts and judge only by kindness." Star woofed softly in her sleep, chasing something in her dreams. Stone reached down with one of his 6 hands to gently pat her side. Who would have thought that his greatest diplomatic achievement would come not from weapons or treaties, but from a small shelter dog with a crooked tail? His communicator buzzed. Another Federation species requesting to join the companion animal program. At this rate, dogs would soon outnumber diplomats in Federation space. And somehow, Stone thought as Star snuggled closer to his legs, that didn't seem like a bad thing at all. 1 year after his first contact with Earth, Admiral Stone stood once again in the Geneva Council chamber. This time, he wasn't alone. Star sat proudly beside him, wearing her official Federation therapy dog vest. Behind them, Max and Miss Brown represented Earth's delegation, while dozens of other humans and aliens filled the chamber with their canine companions. 1 year ago, Stone began, his translator converting his clicks into clear speech. I stood in this room and demanded that humans surrender their battle beasts. A ripple of laughter moved through the crowd. Star wagged her tail, picking up on the happy mood. The head counselor of Earth smiled. And now, Admiral, what would you say about our battle beasts? Stone reached down to scratch Star's favorite spot behind her ear. I would say that I was both completely wrong and surprisingly right. These are indeed powerful weapons, but their power lies in love, not violence. The holoscreen activated, showing scenes from the past year. A warrior hive queen negotiating peace while her chihuahua napped in her lap. Therapy dogs comforting sick children in Federation hospitals. K9 units from different planets working together to stop smugglers. Stone and Star visiting alien schools to teach about friendship between species. The Federation has learned more from Earth's dogs than from all our advanced technology. Stone continued. We've learned that strength doesn't always mean showing teeth. Sometimes it means knowing when to wag your tail instead. Star demonstrated this by wagging her tail so hard her whole back end wiggled. Several alien diplomats cooed at the sight, a sound that would have been unthinkable a year ago. Miss Brown stepped forward with Max. Admiral Stone has asked to share a special announcement, she said. Stone's antenna quivered with excitement as he activated another hologram. It showed images of a new space station under construction. The Federation is proud to announce the creation of the Interstellar Companion Animal Academy, he declared. This facility will train therapy dogs for space travel, prepare rescue dogs for zero-gravity operations, and help aliens and humans learn from each other about caring for our four-legged friends. The chamber burst into applause and barking. Max gave an especially enthusiastic woof that made everyone laugh. But most importantly, Stone continued, the Academy will stand as a reminder that sometimes the greatest discoveries come not from studying the stars above, but from looking into a pair of loving puppy eyes. Stone then did something that once would have shocked the entire Federation. He sat down on the floor of the council chamber, letting Star climb into his lap. Max trotted over to join them, and soon the formal diplomatic meeting turned into an impromptu puppy playdate. The Earth Council leader watched as dignified alien diplomats got down on the floor to play with their dogs. Admiral, she said, your report from a year ago predicted that dogs would change Federation society. Did you ever imagine it would happen like this? Stone watched as Star taught a group of alien children how to play fetch, showing the same patience she had shown him when he first learned the game. No, he clicked softly. I thought we would be teaching dogs to adapt to space. Instead, they taught us how to be better beings. Max brought his favorite ball to Stone, dropping it in front of him. The Admiral picked it up with one of his 6 hands, now expertly throwing it down the chamber's great hall. Both Max and Star chased after it, their paws clicking on the polished floor. In the end, Stone concluded, watching the dogs return with the ball. Humans were right all along. These creatures aren't weapons or tools or even just companions. They're teachers, showing us that the greatest power in the universe isn't in our weapons or our technology. What is it then? Asked a young alien child, petting Star's soft fur. Stone's antenna moved in the pattern that humans had learned meant he was smiling. Love, he clicked simply. The power to love without conditions, to protect without violence, and to make family out of strangers. That's what dogs taught us. And that's why, when I first demanded to see Earth's greatest weapon, The humans just smiled and brought out a puppy. Star stood up on her back legs, putting her paws on Stone's chest, and gave his face a gentle lick. Around them, the leaders of 100 worlds watched and learned from a simple display of affection between a dog and her alien friend. Sometimes, Stone thought, the best diplomatic victories came with a wagging tail.